National Football League without Tom Brady and without Bill Belichick in it was a possibility. I didn't know how real of a possibility it was, but I knew it was a possibility. And lo and behold, the football gods heard my prayers. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Feast and Famine. I'm the real Chris Mack here with Mr. Chino once again, and of course, Mr. Patty Puts. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
What up? Morning. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good. Ready to get into these topics. So, first on the agenda, big news in the NFL. You know, playoffs are here. We ready for some football action this weekend. But first and foremost, there was a lot of coaching changes. A lot of things happened. Usually as the postseason comes and rolls around. What do you guys think about some of these coaching changes in the league? I'm gonna save my takes for the end because I'm gonna need a moment.
I would say a lot of surprises for me. I think if I had to start off, I'd say Mike Vrabel getting fired by the Titans. It's surprising to me. I know they haven't been good the past two seasons, but he's a good coach. He's a really good coach. He's a player's coach. He built a very good culture there. And they're always competing. Yes, last two seasons they haven't been good record-wise, but they compete well in their division. The players like him. I think they're just in a tough space where it's you don't know what you're going to do with Derrick Henry. Are you going to pay him? Are you going to keep him? Are you going to trade him? What are you going to do? Then you got a young guy behind him that you need to get You need to get him on the field, and he needs touches. Mm-hmm. But you drafted Will Levis. You signed DeAndre Hopkins, and then you fire your head coach. I don't know. It's just surprising to me because I think highly of Mike Vrabel. So I think that's one for me. I think the other one for me is just the whole what's going on with the Patriots. It is, Bill Belichick's been there for a long time as a dynasty, and I get it. They haven't been good this year, but I don't think they weren't good this year because of him. I think they were just not good because they just play. Sometimes players just suck. I think the Patriots, the talent they had on that team was just not good. But there was games where they were actually competitive, right? There were games that they were actually in. It's not like they were just getting belt to ass every single game, right? And I think that's a testament of Bill Belichick. Yes, I hate Patriots. I hate Bill Belichick. It's just Raiders, yes. So this is surprising to me. And then to piggyback on top of that, then you go ahead and hire Jared Mayo as the head coach, immediately. You don't even go through a coaching search, which I know the whole Rooney Rule, I understand it, and I know teams need to do their due diligence, but I feel like the Patriots didn't have to do any due diligence because they hired a black head coach, an African American head coach, that doesn't have any experience. He's been the linebackers coach for 5 years, and then he was playing in the NFL. He has no head coaching experience. But you fired Bill Belichick and then hired Jared Mayo. So I think for me it's very surprising, especially just letting Bill Belichick just go. So, what do you think, Pat?
Yeah, I would have to agree with both of those takes, honestly. Mike Vrabel is going to be a really, really hot commodity coming out of Tennessee. I was also very surprised that he was fired. You just mentioned the changing at running back, the changing at quarterback, the changing now at head coach. Maybe it's just the changing of the guard. They're trying to go young, so we'll see where that takes them because they've been a solid team for many years. Bill Belichick, again, very surprising. I think, in my opinion, the best coach ever. 24 seasons, 6 Super Bowls. And again, you just mentioned the transition from Belichick to Mayo. That's actually the same exact thing that happened when Parcells stepped down from the Jets. Parcells had that clause in his contract that said that Bill Belichick was going to be the next head coach. So this is probably something that Bill Belichick had in his contract to make sure that Mayo was taken care of. once he was gone, basically. One thing, he's 71 years old. Is he going to coach somewhere else? You know, he's going to have suitors out there. Like I said, maybe best coach of all time. Like, how could you not want someone like that in your locker room? Again, one other thing that I wanted to mention quickly that I was really surprised about, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a hell of a coach. You know, the Seattle Seahawks are a good team. They're always up there. They find ways to win. You know, they're winning with a mid-30 Geno Smith right now. You know, Pete Carroll still has the fire. He still has that locker room. I was very, very shocked to see him leave. I kind of feel like in both these situations we're looking at maybe almost a little bit of an age out. They're looking for maybe like fresh ideas, you know, a fresh direction. But as a Giants fan and seeing what happened after Tom Coughlin, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So just be careful what you wish for. Antonio Pierce, what's going to happen with him?
So I just got a couple texts this morning about it. Like, just to add context, every single player on the Raiders, every single Hall of Famer, every person that has ever played for the Raiders wants AP to be the head coach. Like, everyone's campaigning for it, right? He's a player's coach. The team loves him. You saw the difference between when we had Josh and then transitioned to AP. Huge difference. Like, we were in every single game. Players fought for him. They wanted to play with him. That's what you want from a head coach, right? You want to fight for somebody, right? And I think for that, like, we can't drop the ball again. Like, we have to make the right decision here, because we messed up with Bisaccia. We let Bisaccia go. We should have kept him, but we didn't. So I think that AP's the head coach, but I think that we're going to go through our due diligence and interview the GMs, interview other head coaches. But I think at the end of the day, AP's going to be the guy. My only fear is if we wait too long, AP will be gone. People will go hire him. I saw rumors of him going to the Giants as a D coordinator, but I think he wants to be a head coach. The Titans have actually scheduled an interview with him as well. So Mark Davis, like I said, I got a couple texts this morning, like, he's the head lead candidate. Mark Davis doesn't want to make a mistake here. Dude, Mark, you're not your dad. You don't know a lot about football, but the people that you put around you that know football know that AP's the guy. Do it. Pull the trigger. Like, stop trying to go get the guy, the big name. Like, stop doing that. I hate it. I've hated it. Other than John Gruden, I hated it. Like, just go with the guy that's making the team better.
Nice. I like all your guys' takes. Man, let me tell you what I think. I don't know. I was like super hyped this whole entire week. You know, namely because I knew that the possibility of a National Football League without Tom Brady and without Bill Belichick in it was a possibility. I didn't know how real of a possibility it was, but I knew it was a possibility. And lo and behold, the football gods heard my prayers, because the Patriots finally got rid of this guy. Okay? Let me tell you something. All right, all of the other like coaches firings, all right, you can make an argument for, okay? You know, the Mike Vrabel one, yeah, I agree with you. He probably should have got some more time in Tennessee to see if he could cook a little bit. The division isn't like super strong, so he could definitely make some headway as far as like, you know, winning that division. And it's a very talented team. You know, you have to fill some spots, you know, figure out what you're doing at running back. You know, quarterback is always an issue, but it was a solid team, and Vrabel is a very good coach. But he's an expatriate too, so forget him too. He can get out of here just as well. Same thing with the Raiders. They had Josh McDaniels before, former offensive coordinator of the Patriots. He's out of here. Okay, we're just getting Patriots out of the league. Like, that's all we're doing. Okay, we're getting them out the league. You know, I'm still salty about the whole. You know, you take your pick. Tuck rule, Spygate, Deflategate. Every single possible thing that this franchise could do to find ways to cheat in the game, they've done. And all of their coordinators, whether it's freaking Vrabel, McDaniels, Romeo Crennel, the list goes on and on and on. All of these guys have not been proven as head coaches. You know? So I think that while consistency over time for a football team is important, and there's been one voice in New England for a very long time. It's been Bill Belichick. You know, it's been one quarterback in their system for a long time. It was Tom Brady. But you see, once that perfect storm kind of just like dispersed, you know, look at what's transpired. Haven't had a winning season since Tom Brady left. You know, the voice has become stale and stagnant. So listen, sometimes you gotta go, you know, to Pat's point. The grass isn't always greener, but sometimes it looks a lot more fertile from afar. Okay, and it's time. It was time. They needed to get rid of him, and you know, shout out to them for making a good football decision. But yeah. Oh, and not to dogpile on them, but yeah, sure, why not? Finally beat them after 15 games of losing to the Patriots. The Jets finished the season triumphing over the Patriots, and the Patriots were the worst team in the AFC East this year. Shout out to them. Shout out to them. And you know what? I think I'm done. I think I've gotten it all out my system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've gotten it all out my system. But I will say one thing, just on some of the other coaching decisions. I definitely agree. AP should be head coach of the Raiders. Definitely did enough from, you know, X's and O's standpoint to like galvanizing the locker room to like, you know, they looked like a very competent football team towards the later half of the season. You know, record is what it is. But yeah, I'm excited to see if he does get the opportunity, what the Raiders can do next season. Also surprised at the the Pete Carroll coaching decision. But same reason as New England. To Pat's point, is like, you know, sometimes the voice just gets stale, and you want to shake it up. You know, get some fresh ideas in there. But yeah, also highly decorated coach. You know, I don't think at his age he would be considered for another coaching position, but you never know. Maybe like a younger team that needs like that rock or that stabilizing force. Maybe like in Atlanta, you know, who also had a coaching move. Washington, who got rid of Ron Rivera. So you might see Pete Carroll again. Just depends on if he still has the motivation. But yeah, my rant is over. I've officially said my piece.
All good. Yeah, I was gonna chime in and just go back to double click on the Raiders. 3 stats I'll throw out there for you all. As his head coach, this is one of the first times in the past 20 years where we've been top in the top 10 defensively overall. Mm-hmm. It's also our offensive line for the first time has been in the top 10 overall. And for the first time in over 30 years, the Raiders have the least amount of penalties in the NFL.
Look at that.
What's that tell you? That tells you discipline. That tells you coaching. That tells you everyone's doing their job. What else do you want from a head coach, an interim head coach? What else do you want? You want your players to play. They're professional athletes. It's their job to do, right? So it's a no-brainer.
Quick question for you. Quick question for you, Sean.
Yeah.
So this is not new information, but the Raiders have historically made some questionable decisions when it comes to like coaches. Like honestly, we could go down the list. I think Hugh Jackson did a good job as a head coach for the Raiders. He didn't get, you know, a long-term opportunity. John Gruden is probably one of the greatest coaches to coach in football, and he got let go off of some questionable emails, but
Well, like I said, well, don't you want to go down that hole? Go down that hole.
Yeah.
He should have never been fired. He wasn't the only person on those emails. Granted, the things that were said in the emails is it's 2024. Like it's part of the reason why we are where we are society wise. But he wasn't the only person on the email. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the person under investigation. But all of a sudden, just randomly, because Roger Goodell is in those emails, all of a sudden we pivot to, John Gruden's on these emails.
Yeah,
let's fire him. Mm-hmm. He got fired. Let me ask you both this question. After John Gruden got fired, what else did you hear about the scandal?
Not a single thing.
Nothing. Because it basically was, all right, everyone focus on this guy. Now we're going to fire him. And that's why now he's suing the NFL and he's about to win. Mm-hmm. You know what? The NFL's pissed because John Gruden's lawyers are doing two things. One, they're rubbing in the face that, Roger Goodell is in those emails too. So if you want to keep fighting going back and forth, then we can, and we'll go get more of those emails and show them to everyone. Mm-hmm. Right? And two, he shouldn't have been fired. And you know what? The Raiders didn't want to fire him. That's why they made a settlement to still pay him, even though we fired him. Because we only fired him because all the way up at top, Roger Goodell said, get rid of him.
Mm-hmm. So my question to you, knowing all of that and the laundry list of things that the Raiders have gone through, what feels different now versus back then?
The culture.
Okay.
Culture. We never had this culture. Mm-hmm. John Gruden was getting us there. Like, he had to rip down everything, bring in the old Raider way. Like, we have to get back to that. And, Pat, I'd love your thoughts on this, but the NFL's better when the Raiders are relevant.
I'd have to agree, especially now that they're in big-time Vegas. It's a big ticket. I'd have to agree that Antonio Pierce definitely does bring that, that hard-nosed, hard fighting, that he's going to play every single down to the utmost of his ability, like it's his last breath. He's just going to teach that to his players. He's got the people in place to win right now. He just proved that he's capable of winning right now. I don't really know what else they should be looking for, unless, like Chris just mentioned, if they're looking for that big ticket name, they're out there. So if they're looking to make the big mistake, hopefully they don't. It could happen, but Antonio Pierce, I think, is a great head coach for them. They're going to continue to win if he's going to be their head coach, and I think they're a playoff team.
Yeah, we just need a quarterback. O'Connell did well, and just looking at his stats, he actually outperformed Bryce Young. But it just shows you that, to your point, like, we have the talent on both sides of the ball to be successful. Like, arguably one of the best running backs in the NFL, arguably best wide receiver in the NFL, strong offensive line. Defensively, like I said, we were ranked 8th overall. We have, in my opinion, the best pass rusher in the NFL, Max Crosby. We got DBs playing well. We stole Jack Jones from the Patriots, and he comes in and catches one-handed interceptions and runs them back for touchdowns. So, like you said, talent-wise, for the first time, like, I'm super excited about what we have. We just got to make the right decision on who's going to lead the people, because if we don't hire AP, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to go back to square one.
Basically.
One sleeper team I would be concerned about is Washington. Washington was AP's first team. He was an undrafted free agent, and he signed with Washington.
I mean, if they're not going to give him the job there, that's likely to happen.
Yeah, I like that take. I don't know if it comes to fruition, because I feel like they're going to do like a huge overhaul. Like, they're getting rid of everything. They're ripping it all down. Mm-hmm. Then they just hired the assistant GM of the Niners, right? Adam Peters, I believe. He's going to come in. I think they're going to rip it all down. You got new owners. You got a new GM. I think they're just going to tear it all down. And I think that speaks to, I don't think Ron Rivera is a bad coach. I just think that it was just time to clean house. Mm-hmm. They've been bad for a long time.
Speaking of
there's
playoffs,
I'm sorry, Chris.
sorry, go ahead.
Continue.
No, I was going to say, speaking of playoffs.
There's eight openings out of 32 teams. A quarter of the league is looking for a new head coach.
Yep.
Who would you guys want to be the head coach of?
Go ahead, Chris.
Who would I want to be the head coach? If I was a head coach, who would I want to be the coach of? I mean, I think a lot of people would say I want to be the head coach of my own team, but no, that'd be too much pressure for me, to be honest.
Get all out of here.
Plus, I would want to just get everybody out of here for real. Honestly, maybe like a warm weather team. So I'm thinking like Houston. I think I could be the head coach of the Houston Texans. Get some good barbecue. Football is like ingrained in the culture of Texas, so I could get a lot of like 5-star recruits from the South region. Yeah, I think that would be my choice. Sean, what do you got? Who would you pick?
Muted.
You're muted.
Oh, you know who I would pick.
Yeah,
But just for conversation, I'm not going to say the Raiders. If I had to pick a team that has an opening today, I'd probably say the Chargers, because I think that talent-wise, they have all the pieces. They just hired the wrong head coach and then allowed him to run rampant. Like, I knew it was bad when we were competing with them even when we didn't have a roster. Like, we were competing with them every year. We split. I believe the past like 5-6 seasons we've split with them, and that's a testament to, all right, this team that has no talent, barely any talent on the team, top to bottom, is competing with you, and you have stud quarterback, stud wide receiver, defense that turns the ball over, that gets turnovers. Like, what are we doing here? And it all came to fruition when I believe it was a game 2 years ago, and the coach went for it on 4th down and inside their own 20. I was like, all right, yeah, he ain't the right guy. He shouldn't be coaching this team. And look, now he's not coaching this team anymore. So if I had to pick a team, it'd be LA. It's indoors, California, nice weather all the time. Only thing I worry about is an earthquake. But I'm fine with that. We're good. I'd have enough money to make sure I don't have to worry about earthquakes. So we're good.
Pat, what do you got?
I would have to agree. I think I'd like to be the Chargers head coach. I really, really like Justin Herbert's game. Austin Eckler does his thing usually. I don't know what the heck happened this year. I don't know if that was the whole... Yeah, I don't know if that's the head coach injury or maybe he was just still upset about the running back situation. But, you know, Keenan Allen is a monster. They have a few really good wide receivers. I think they're maybe overdrafting receivers a little bit. They have some other weaknesses around the rosters. Around the roster, excuse me. But like you said, there's defensive playmakers on the other side as well. Yeah, I just think they're a really good head coach and maybe a couple guys in the trenches away from being a playoff team.
But the Raiders are still going to smack them every year. So.
But the Raiders will continue to smack them.
True stuff. Speaking of playoffs, poor transitions aside, playoff matchups. You know, we got the first playoff weekend here. What are the picks? What are you guys thinking? Upset alerts. Give it to me. Pat, start us off.
All right. Alrighty. So tonight starts off with the Cleveland Browns against the Houston Texans. That game is in Houston. I'm on Joe Flacco and the Browns. You know, in the past, you find that good defenses and running the football can win you a championship. And that's exactly what the Browns do. Hopefully C.J. Stroud doesn't prove me wrong again because he was awesome last week and he continues to play extremely well. I just think the Browns' defense is a little too talented and they're going to make a bunch of plays. Chiefs versus Dolphins. You guys want me to fly through everything or you want to go back and forth? What do you want to do?
No, let's go back and forth.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say I like that take. I don't 100% agree with it because, like I said last week, C.J. Stroud is that dude. I'm That's one of the things I regret, that the Raiders, and obviously Josh McDaniels is, we're not going to say what he is, but he wasn't a smart coach. And picking to deal with signing Jimmy Garoppolo over going to get CJ Stroud when your GM wanted to go get CJ Stroud. Now you look, CJ Stroud has taken a new head coach, a team that hasn't been good since when they've never been good, right? And he's slinging the rock. He has ice in his veins. First play, last week, first play of the game, 75-yard bomb. He has a connection with his team, Nico Collins. So I think that even though the Browns have a good defense, I think the Texans light it up. I think it is going to be a shootout because I agree with Joe Flacco being the right guy. He's going to manage the game. He's been here before. He has the weapons. They're going to run the ball. But last time they played, the Browns blew them out. But guess what? Davis Mills was playing quarterback, not C.J. Stroud. So
True.
I think the Texans pull it out. I think it will be a close game. I'm thinking maybe around 27-20 Texans. I'm just leaning heavy on C.J. Stroud because, dude, he impresses me. He's that dude.
True. I'm gonna go with the Browns on this one. If you go back to an earlier pod episode, I said to Sean the Browns were sneakily good, and this was before Joe Flacco came off the couch to come play quarterback for them. And, I got a rep for my guy, Joe Flacco, former Jet, Jersey guy, right across the bridge over in Audubon. So, they just have that formula that wins in the playoffs. Strong defense, good running game, and that translates, whether you're at home or away. Not to say that C.J. Stroud isn't that dude. I think he's going to have stellar NFL career. But he is a rookie, and, the lights are a bit brighter when the playoffs roll around. So, give me the Browns. It is probably going to be a shootout, but I'd say it, we'll go 30-21 Cleveland.
What you got, Pat? What's your final score there? Because
it's going to be 20-17 Cleveland.
Field goal to win it?
Oh, he's got it close.
Yeah. I like it.
It's
we'll see. It's going to be a good game.
We got spreads to cover here.
Yeah.
I love it.
Pat, what's the next slate?
Right? Dolphins Chiefs.
Alrighty, tonight we have the Dolphins at the Chiefs. All right, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I feel like it's kind of the obvious choice. Unfortunately, the Dolphins aren't playing their best football right now. Their record in games that start below 40 degrees, they've lost 9 in a row. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, once it comes playoff time, they just get hot. They play to their utmost potential, and I think they're going to find a way to get it done. I don't think this one's going to be that close. I think it's going to be 38-20.
Blowout. This was a tough one for me. I know last week I kind of rode hard on the Dolphins, but I would say, in my defense, they did what they were supposed to. They didn't capitalize because they did early in that game. They had Josh Allen turn over that ball. They had Josh Allen looking like not Josh Allen, and then all of a sudden they just said, "All right, Bills, you can have the game. Here you go." I say that because I think that, and this is before I make my pick, I think that in order for the Dolphins to win, they're going to have to get the Chiefs to turn over the ball. They're going to have to get to Mahomes. They're going to have to put pressure. They're going to have to get turnovers. Unfortunately, they don't have their 2 best edge rushers. Melvin Ingram is not it, right? I know he had a good game last week, and they just signed him off the practice squad again for this game, but they have to do that. I don't think they're going to be able to. And big Raiders fan, I hate the Chiefs, but Patrick Mahomes is that dude. Travis Kelce's that dude. They're at home. What they want, the weather, it's going to be cold. I think they're going to run the ball. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to he's not going to have turnovers. think they are going to blow them out. And Tyreek Hill, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I think he'll get his catches, he'll get his yards, but yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to be too much. Playoff Andy Reid. Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're all on the Chiefs. We're all on the Chiefs. Listen, Miami, it was a good story, okay? And they do have like a lot of good pieces, but I think they just don't play well in big games. Last week's game, case in point, you basically have it, can put the Bills away and you just hand them the game. I like Tua. I like Tyreek Hill. I like a lot of the pieces they have. A-Train running the ball. But, you can't bet against, the defending Super Bowl champions. We forget about that. That Chiefs won last year. They got the coach. They got the quarterback. They got the pedigree. Give me the Chiefs. And it's not close. Let's go 28-17 Chiefs.
Yeah, Sean, you brought up a great point with the Miami edge rushers. I believe Van Ginkel got hurt in the Buffalo Bills game too. So they have Melvin Ingram running around trying to cover Dalton Kincaid, which will never, ever happen. It's a really tough spot end of year when you're trying to sign guys basically off the streets to rush the passer. So, yeah, it's just not an ideal situation for them, even though they had a great season, But, yeah, I think this is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, and listen, they're not healthy at all. Like you're missing your edge rushers. You're missing. I wanted us to sign Van Ginkel, but the Dolphins ended up getting him. They're also a little banged up on offense too. Like the Dolphins that were really good this year are not the Dolphins today. Like Mostert's hurt, Waddle's hurt. Like A-Chain is an amazing. He's an amazing running back, but the way that offense works. You have to have all your guys. Mm-hmm. Waddle has to be there. It can't just be Tyreek Hill. And to your point, who's going to guard Kelsey? And guess what? Kelsey hasn't been playing well, and he's due. He's due for a big game. So, yeah, Chiefs are going to – I think the Chiefs are going to – I said it earlier, belt to ass. They're going to give it to him.
We'll also have like a Taylor Swift watch at the game, so – you thought it was going away, but it definitely isn't. It's just more of the NFL PR team right there. But moving on to Sunday's games. First one, Bills Steelers. Sean, what's your take on this one?
Kind of same story. I think that the first half, the Bills weren't the Bills, but then the second half they turned it on. And that's the Bills team that they're going to need to win the Super Bowl. And I think that's the team that's going to show up on Sunday. Steelers they're depleted, man. They don't have their best they don't have the best defensive player. TJ Watt's out. They have Mason Rudolph at quarterback. Yes, he's been playing well, but come on, let's be real here. The Steelers squeaked in. All right, I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't think talent-wise, defensively, they can stop the pass. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the run with no TJ Watt. I think the Bills destroy the Steelers. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm thinking maybe 31-14 at home. Bills Mafia. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen's going to have a huge game.
Pat, who do you got?
Yeah, I'd have to totally agree with that one. Just like you said, it was like two different teams, first half, second half. I think that kind of came with the changing of the offensive coordinator. Once that happened, we saw James Cook really become the back that he's capable of being. Maybe Stephon Diggs took a little bit of a back seat, but the team started winning. And Josh Allen started running the football. I mean, he's got a crazy amount of rushing touchdowns in the second half of the year. There's supposed to be 65-mile-per-hour winds at this football game, which is pretty insane. Again, TJ Watt's going to be out. The Steelers just don't have enough firepower on both sides of the ball to keep up with the Bills. I also agree this one's going to be a blowout. Let's go with 28-17.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. We're all on the Bills here. We were talking coaching changes early. Mike Tomlin was in that, in those rumblings for is it time to make a change here. And luckily, the Steelers kind of squeaked into the playoffs. To your point, Sean. The Bills just have when they're on and they're cooking, they have literally one of the best offenses in football. And Josh Allen, I'm always hard on him because, like, yeah, you're that guy, but like you have to show it in big games. But I think competition here is really it's not really a question. So he's definitely going to have a huge game. Blowout city. Honestly, I don't see the Steelers scoring more than 10 points, to be real. Let's go like 30-10 Bills. In our second afternoon game, Packers, Cowboys. Pat, give it to me. What's the breakdown here?
Okay, so Green Bay will be playing in Dallas against the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dallas is a very, very strong team, and Jordan Love is playing very well at quarterback for the Packers, but I think the Cowboys are going to beat up on the Packers a little bit. The Packers do not have the defensive side of the ball to keep up with the Cowboys on offense, and then I think you're going to find that the Cowboys edge rushers are going to get home, and they're going to really, really frustrate Jordan Love. Dak Prescott's going to throw for 3 touchdowns in this one. I think it's going to be 27-14, Cowboys on top, and I think the Cowboys are a dangerous team this year.
Sean, who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I said it last week. Cowboys are a complete team. Get rid of all that noise about they haven't been good since the 90s. Like, they are legit right now at all facets of the ball. Dak is arguably having an MVP type year right now. CeeDee Lamb is making a statement he should be top 5 wide receivers in the NFL, or arguably one of the best. And defensively, they're stout at every position. And Micah Parsons is leading the league in pressures at the quarterback. He may not have the sacks for it, but just from knowing what Max Crosby does for us, him putting pressure on the quarterback speaks volumes, and that's why you see the Dallas having so many, causing so many turnovers. Yeah, I think Dak has a big game. I think CD goes over 100, maybe like 15 catches. They're at home. Michael Parsons gets a couple sacks. I think at the end of the day, early it'll be a blowout, but I think Packers get some late touchdowns to kind of make it close. So I'll probably say 28-21 Cowboys.
I think I'm gonna have to go with a hot take here. I'm not sure. Listen, I know that the Cowboys this season have been one of the top teams in football. But let's not forget about who we're talking about here. We're talking about the Cowboys, okay? Historically, unless we're talking 95, 96, whatever, the Cowboys just have like choked under the pressure so many times. And let's be real, Dak has a lot to prove, He's been paid like he's a top quarterback in the NFL and hasn't necessarily performed like a top quarterback in the NFL in clutch time situations. I personally think the Packers shouldn't be slept on. We were like very high on CJ Stroud. Jordan Love, okay, I think is like the guy. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the bright young quarterbacks in football. And, to Sean's point last week, he got a chance to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, just like Aaron got a chance to sit behind Brett Favre. So he's kind of groomed a little bit to be, to have a good NFL playoff run in him. The Packers, record-wise, just weren't like where I think they should have been this season, but I think if there's any chance for like an upset in the first round, I think this might be it. If the Packers do pull it out, I think it's going to be close. It might even be a field goal win. Give me 24-21 Packers.
Nice,
Book it.
Nice.
Book it.
All right. Book the hot take.
Yeah. Then we got a night game. Matt Stafford's return to Detroit.
Trade game. They were both traded for each other.
They were traded for each other. Yeah. We got the Rams and Lions in Detroit. Sean, give it to me. What we got?
You probably both already know my answer here. I alluded to my thoughts on the Rams last week. Matthew Stafford's balling out. He has weapons at every position. I love Kyron Williams. He's. I'm so mad that I was looking at where he got drafted, what round. Like, he fell, and the Rams just stole him. And now look, this man he might have 2 touchdowns today. You know, I'm gonna go look at the odds, and I might put some money on that. I think the Rams offensively are gonna be too much for the Lions. I think that Sean McVay is gonna have a game plan for Goff because he used to coach him. Yeah, I'm not sold on the Lions. I know a lot of people this year, the Lions have looked good, but I'm not completely sold on Jared Goff. Yes, they're at home, but I think the Rams are really good on offense. I think it will be a shootout, but I think the Rams make more plays than the Lions do it at the end of the day. So I would say I would take Rams 31, Lions 28.
Okay. Not bad. Pat, what do you got?
Alrighty, so I am on the Lions at home. I love the Lions this year. I love what they're doing. Unfortunately, Sam Laporta got hurt last week, which was a huge blow. But I still think they have the firepower to get this job done. The Lions on offense, I think they're going to pound the rock. I think you're going to see a huge game out of Jahmyr Gibbs, both catching the ball out of the backfield and running the football. Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive side of the ball is playing some of his best football of the year at the right time, so that's awesome. One thing I'm concerned about with the Rams is just the defensive side of the ball, the playmakers. I'm looking for them. Like, who's going to make the plays? Who's going to make the stops? I know Donald is obviously the guy. Is he going to make enough plays to make the difference in this game? I like Jared Goff. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and I like the Lions 34-27.
Not bad.
At least we both think it's going to be high scoring. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun game to watch. I'm with Sean. I'm not really, sold on the Lions. Jared Goff has, shown flashes in his career of being, a capable quarterback. But, again, it comes down to, what you do in the playoffs. We got a proven guy in Matt Stafford, probably one of the best quarterbacks we've seen, the last decade in the NFL. And, offensively, it comes down to me to one guy, and his name is Puka Nacua. This guy is, came in, rookie, just slaying at wide receiver. They got talent across the board. Aaron Donald is basically going to feast on that defensive line. And, I'm just going to go with experience. We forget that the Rams, did win a Super Bowl in recent memory, and they still majority have a lot of those pieces. So give me the Rams in a high scoring affair. This is definitely going to be a fun game to watch. And then last game of the week, we got Philly and the Buccaneers. Who would have thought? A week ago, Eagles were second in the NFC. Now they're in a wild card game. Pat, as the resident Giants fan, give me your hot take on the Eagles.
Talk about backing into the playoffs, right? What were they, 1-5 in their last 6? Oh, they look horrible. The Giants beat them last weekend. It was awesome. I loved every second of it. Tyrod Taylor played great. Did enough to get the win. Unfortunately, I'm very upset to say this. I think the Eagles take this game. I was really excited to see the Buccaneers beat up on the Panthers last weekend, go into the playoffs riding really on their highest high. Baker playing well, everybody playing good. Baker's now hurt, and he's definitely not healthy. They looked like crap against the Carolina defense. The Eagles are finally getting Darius Slay back. They're getting healthier and healthier. I believe Devontae Smith will be playing in this game also. I'm expecting a really big game out of Dallas Goedert. They're going to try to want to stay away from Antoine Winfield in the center of the field, so they're going to do that check down stuff all day. And I think the Eagles are going to use this game as a get-right game, and I think they're going to beat up on the Bucs a little bit. I think the score is going to be somewhere around 24-10 Eagles.
Sean, what do you think?
Mute.
Hit the mute, my guy.
Bad. I was super excited about. I was like trying to hold myself back. That's why I was on mute. But I agree with everything you just said. Like I think the Eagles just the past 6 weeks just looked atrocious. But the Buccaneers don't look any better. They looked terrible against the Panthers last week. I'm super pissed off that I bet money on Michael. I bet money on Mike Evans to do something, and he goose egged me basically. I think to your point, Eagles are getting healthy at the right time outside of A.J. Brown. I think A.J. Brown is going to be big, that he may or may not be 100%. I don't know if that's been announced yet or not, but Devontae Smith, I think, is going to have a huge game. I don't think Goddard's going to have a big game. What I do think is going to happen is what happened earlier in the season. I think the Eagles are going to run the ball for once because they haven't been doing it. Last time they played, Swift had 130 yards rushing. Overall, they had almost 200 yards rushing altogether. I think they run the ball and just give it to them. I think it is going to be a blowout. I think Baker Mayfield's not going to have a good game. I just think the Buccaneers, just offensively outside of those guys, are just not it, right? Godwin's been up and down. He hasn't really been there. And they rely on Mike Evans having big games, and I don't think he's going to have a big game because, Slay's back. So I think Eagles take it. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think they're going to run the ball, have a lot of success doing it. We're going to see some tush pushes. I would say I would take Eagles 27, Buccaneers 10.
Listen, this is like a tale of two teams here, because are the Eagles going to be the team that was 10-1, or are they going to be the team that closed the season out 1-5? Okay. Unfortunately, I've had to watch this team a lot and get a lot of feedback from Eagles fans. To your points, they are getting healthy at the right time. Getting Devontae Smith back is huge. I honestly think they weren't going to him enough in a lot of their games where they were losing, forcing it to A.J. Brown way too much. And to your point, Sean, literally have two healthy, capable running backs and just decided, no, we're just going to let Jalen run around the whole time. Offensively, I think the Eagles are outclass the Buccaneers completely. The only shot that I would give Tampa is if they can manage to control time of possession, run the ball. Because the Eagles defense, once you start running the ball, it's like a open sieve. You can pretty much just do whatever you want. If that is the game plan, there's a slim chance the Bucs could pull up an upset here. But yeah, give me the Eagles. If they're clicking on all cylinders, it should be a blowout. 24-7 Eagles. And that brings us to Super Bowl picks. We're in playoff time. We've already picked, who we think's going to advance. But overall, who are you guys feeling for our Super Bowl picks this season? Sean, who do you got?
I'm huge on the Ravens right now. I think Lamar is clear-cut MVP. I know there was, past couple weeks there's been some discussions around, is it Christian McCaffrey? Is it Brock Purdy? Is it? And me personally, this might just be my own hot take that a lot of people don't agree with, but I feel like Lamar Jackson gets slated a lot because what he does is normal. What he does is not normal. He has brought a dynamic to the quarterback position that we haven't seen in a long time at this much success rate, right? Like Michael Vick, yeah, similar quarterback, but he wasn't winning games and doing what the Ravens are doing, right? So, I'm big on the Ravens right now. I think their defense is underrated. Offensively, Lamar is MVP, playing at an MVP level right now. So I have them from an AFC standpoint, and then my other hot take is I'm really sold on the Rams. I think they can go on a run here and make it to the Super Bowl. I have the Ravens beating them in the Super Bowl, but those would be the two teams I could see early right now, first round of playoffs. Those are the two teams I would stick with being in the Super Bowl. What you got, Pat?
Alrighty, I am going with the number 1 seed in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers. Unfortunately, Christian McCaffrey got a little bit banged up in the last game of the year, but I don't think that's going to be enough to hold him back. I think as long as he is semi-healthy and doing his things, and they get Debo the ball enough, I think Brock Purdy is the guy to be able to distribute to all the playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. I think their defense is extremely difficult to play against, whether it's sacking the quarterback or taking the ball away. They just play angry at all times, and they have a way of taking over games. So I like the San Francisco 49ers to win the Super Bowl, and I think they're going to be facing the Cleveland Browns. I think Joe Flacco, the running game and the defense, will continue to do their thing. And who's the team that beat the Ravens this year? The Cleveland Browns.
That is a sizzling hot take right there. Whoo! My man said the Browns to the Super Bowl. Wow. I think I'm going to have to split the difference. I'm going to take a little bit of Pat's sauce. I'm going to take a little bit of Sean's sauce, and I'm going to smack them together. I think the Super Bowl is going to be Baltimore and San Francisco. You got arguably the two best teams in each conference slated to go head-to-head. Lamar is playing at an MVP level for, second year in as many years as he's been nominated for it. And, yeah, they just look nasty on offense, running the ball, and defense is playing stout. San Francisco has looked like probably the best team in the NFL the whole season. They just have everything that you need to be a championship team at every level. Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, defensively, they're stout. So I think it's going to be a matchup of the ages of the two titans of the NFL this season. My man said the Browns. Oh, my goodness.
That's right.
Listen, if that actually happens, we gotta play this back and just be like, yo, this is the only person that I know that's picking the Browns to go to Super Bowl.
We need the Lions and the Browns in the Super Bowl.
That would be nuts.
Do we, though? Do we need them in the Super Bowl?
When's the last time the Lions made the playoffs? Or won the division? Is that what it was?
I don't know. It was definitely when Matt Stafford was on there.
Which, I was watching the Barry Sanders special the other day. Man, he was amazing.
Special.
Yeah, but that's like wasted talent, dude. Like, they were never able to get anything around him to, make any significant runs at anything.
Special.
Right. Switching gears a little bit, we're going to head over to the NBA. We're in that time of year. All-Star considerations. You sent us a early preview of fan voting for the All-Star game. Some nods here that are a little questionable in my opinion, but Sean, what's your first take on All-Star voting this year?
I think the biggest one for me, and I'm high on this dude right now. He's super underrated. The team that he's on is super underrated. But SGA, man, I feel like him and what the Thunders are doing right now is low key sneaky, but really good. Dude's averaging 31.4 points per game. He's averaging almost 6 rebounds. He's averaging over 6 assists. He leads the league in steals, but he's third on this list to guards for All-Star voting. I think that obviously, you know, I'm never a big fan of like fans deciding these things, but obviously I know that everyone loves Steph Curry and everybody loves Luka Doncic, and it's more than just America. Obviously, Luka is an international superstar, so there's some of that weight coming from there. Like, dude's underrated. He should be number one on this list. Just looking at what he's doing on the team that he's doing it with. So that's my initial hot take. Like, give this man his flowers, dude. He's balling. Balling. Pat, what you think?
Yeah, I'd have to totally agree with that. In my notes, I wrote Shai is my favorite player in the NBA right now. So any opportunity that I have to watch him, I try to take that, because the Thunder in their own right are a great team to watch. They're a lot of fun. You know, they have a lot of size, they're fast, they shoot the ball well. One thing with the fan vote, you're always going to see those usual guys at the top of the list. It's just how it is. You're going to see them year after year after year after year. One thing I love seeing is the Houston fans getting their guy Alperen Sengun up to 6th in voting. That's amazing. I think that's super impressive. The guy's a 21-year-old from Turkey. He's averaging 22, 9, and 5, which is great in its own right. But the fact that Houston was able to get him voted all the way up there, I think is awesome. Keep it up. Get him voted to the All-Star game.
Oh yeah,
Chris,
definitely.
what do you think?
Definitely, I agree. Yeah, to your point, the fan vote is so fickle. It's like a lot of it is like, yeah, okay, some guys that are actually like putting up stats and numbers on this list, but you have guys that are just like name recognition. Like, for example, you know, I love Jimmy Butler. He's you know, perennial All-Star. He's not better than some of these guys that are on this list as like stat wise this season. It's literally just name recognition. Also, like, why is James Harden getting a vote? Like, honestly, he's literally done nothing this season, and he doesn't have the numbers to back it up. Personally, I think there's a lot of surprises on here as well. Just going down the list, Tyrese Maxey finally getting some recognition. He's been balling out the last 2 seasons. Derek White from Boston has been putting up some serious numbers. Boston, just overall, as being like one of the best teams in the NBA, period. They have like a stout lineup, getting 2 guys, Porzingis and White, both getting all-star nods this season. Just goes to show you how stacked their team is right now, considering that they're not even their 2 best players. And then another like surprise for me, being a Knicks fan, is Jalen Brunson finally getting on the ticket. Do I think he's like the 4th best guard in the NBA? No. Obviously, he should have more votes than Trae Young, considering Trae Young hasn't really done much, and his team is like, bottoms in the league record-wise right now. But, yeah, I'm excited to see, some new, fresh young blood get some opportunities and get recognition and get to show their talents in the All-Star game. This is good. This is a good list. Again, some questionable stuff, but...
Yeah, I want to go back to what you said about James Harden.
All right.
Don't disrespect.
No, I am gonna disrespect James Harden. He needs to get disrespected a little bit.
The Clippers are balling. They're first in the Pacific Division, and I think that they're on like a streak right now where they've lost like two or three games in the last 20 games. He's almost averaging a double-double. This is a different James Harden. This isn't the James Harden that we're all used to in his prime, where he's scoring 30 points. This is a James Harden that's averaging what he's doing what they need him to do to win games. He's averaging 17. He's almost averaging 10 assists. That's what they need James Harden to do at this age. They don't need the James Harden dropping 30 or trying to average 40. Like, for the dynamic of what the Clippers are, James Harden should be on this list because he's doing what he should be doing to make sure that they win.
All right.
That's my thought.
Is he playing better than Kyrie Irving?
Yes. Are we talking about just stats, or are we talking about impact on the team?
Is he playing better than Devin Booker?
Same question. Are we talking about just strictly scoring points? Or are we talking about the whole dynamic of the game, the impact of him on that team?
Listen, if we're talking about Houston James Harden, all right, I'll give you that, okay? He should obviously be in like the top 10 of the conversation of All-Star voting. But they literally have 4 former All-Stars, 2 former MVPs, 1 Finals MVP on their squad, okay?
Is that his fault? That's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. But arguments could be made that he's like the 4th best player on that team. Yes, he does exactly what the team needs him to do. Okay? Facilitate, score points in certain spots. Get the ball to the guys that really need to score the points, which are PG and Kawhi. Okay? Fine. I just think, there's other guys that you can look at that should probably get nods over him. That's my only take there.
Yeah, I mean, averaging a double-double is good and all, but I mean, there's a lot of probably guys that are averaging a double-double. Domantas Sabonis, he's averaging 20 and leading the league in rebounds. I don't think he's even on the list at all. So it kind of is in the eye of the beholder. Like it depends on person's opinions of the player. And also, All-Star voting can't necessarily be the importance of the person to that team because Jalen Brunson is hugely important to the Knicks, whereas, he should be higher on the list. You take Maxey off the Sixers, and they might still be pretty damn good, or maybe some of those other guys above Brunson.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I would just say this, based on the Sabonis is a stud. Front court's a little different because you're going to 3 people start as more players at the forward because you're including forwards and centers. So that's probably why he's not on this list. Should be on this list. But just looking at from a guard perspective, I don't know. I'm just plus minus. I think yesterday his plus minus was 20. Like the dude is impacting the game. He's doing his job at a guard position. And yes, he has all-stars around him, but like the Clippers are first in. We're talking about the Clippers being a good team. What are we talking about here? The Clippers are never good.
No.
But they are
correction. The Clippers have been good multiple times. It's just they've choked in the playoffs.
I don't think they're gonna choke in the playoffs this year.
Oh no, I don't.
But we don't gotta go down there.
We don't have to get there yet. We don't have to get there yet. But like there is some there are some discrepancies on this list. Why is Trae Young listed as the 2nd guard in voting? Why?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Over Donovan Mitchell, Maxey, and Brunson. All 3 of those guys are having way better seasons. So, I don't know.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
Popularity contest.
They are.
It's popularity, 100%. But we're also talking about the top echelon of players. I don't think Trae Young is having a bad year. Mm-hmm. Is he having as good of a year as these other guys?
No.
No.
Let me get your take on this. What do you guys think about both Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren getting All-Star nods as like rookies?
Before we move on to that topic, I had to use the Google machine real quick.
All right, Google machine.
Trae Young right now today, he's averaging 28 and 11 assists. So you can't tell me that Trae Young's not.
What's Atlanta's record?
Great.
What's Atlanta's record?
I see where you're going. You just listen. I know we're all Knicks fans, but you just want Jalen Brunson higher on the list. All right, that's all you got to say.
I do. No, I do. No, I do. But I can objectively say, like, look, it's fine. But the NBA has historically, like, not given guys all-star nominations if your team is losing. Like, if you're on a losing team, but you're putting up, 25, 30 points, whatever, sure. But winning matters when it comes to these things. That's the whole reason they added the coaches vote to all-star voting, is because guys that like weren't even like playing were getting all-star nominations.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the all-star voting in any sport. I actually like the whole aspect of how the NFL does, like, their all pro teams. Like, just get 50 dudes that have no biases and have them pick who the best players are at whatever position, and then that's how you decide your all-stars. Yes, fans should have a say, but man, yes, to your point, people get slighted because yes, fans they jump on certain trains and pick who they like and who's nice and flashy. And yes, for Atlanta fans, Trae Young is nice and flashy. He's averaging 28 and 11 assists. And yes, they suck, but that's why he's high on this list.
27.4, by the way, not 28.
You didn't want me to round up? Okay, but he's averaging.
No, don't round up. No, that's fine. My whole thing with all-star voting is just like, if it impacts winning, sure. If not, yeah, why are you getting voted for? But yeah, numbers-wise, sure, he deserves to be there. But can we get to my question? What do you guys think about the two, number 1 and 2 in the draft this year, being nominated for all-star appearances?
Go ahead,
Pat, what do you think?
I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. I'm happy to see the youth movement coming through the NBA. I think it's pretty crazy the size of the NBA players that are coming through now. But I think, just like anyone else, I think rookies are deserving of the potential to become an all-star. And I think they're playing pretty close up to that upper echelon. Maybe they're not quite there. Maybe they shouldn't be in the all-star game this year. But if the fans are going to vote them in, I'm okay with it. I think Victor Wembanyama is an absolute sensation. He's really fun to watch. And the game against Giannis was some of the best basketball I've watched in the last couple of years. I don't have a problem with it.
Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I love it. It's a youth movement. Similar story. I do also think that it's the same thing with any international player. I just think there's those stats are going to be they're going to be packed because of he's a superstar in other countries. Where here he's not really a superstar, right? LeBron James and the Giannis's and the Kevin Durant, like, those are superstars today. Where he's a newer guy. Yeah, he's high on that list. He's on that list, which is great. He's on that list because, again, fans are voting for him to be on that list. But I love it, though. And we go back to an episode that me and Chris had. Yeah, I wasn't big on Chet. I wasn't big on Chet, but yeah, he's balling. Thunder's balling. He's in a good situation. My take, I would say, is I was having this conversation with someone the other day. Imagine if Victor could get size-wise build like Giannis. He'd be a problem. Mm-hmm. A problem. The dude can shoot. He has a jumper. He can shoot threes. He can shoot the mid-range. He can move like Giannis. He's taller than Giannis. Imagine if he could get Giannis's size. Bulk up a little bit. Get like an NBA type body. Man, it'd be a problem.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, I mean, in the Wemby Chet debate, I mean, Wemby is having a better season slightly averaging like a few more rebounds and like 1 more point a game or 2 more points a game. But yeah, they're both highly talented big men, and I think they're like futures of the league when it comes to like that center position. I think overall Chet has a much better team, which kind of helps his development a little bit. They both started off kind of slow, but yeah, to your point, Pat, some of these games you watch Wemby in, especially like that Bucks game, and you're like, oh man, this guy, yeah, he's it. Like, there's a couple guys like when you see them actually play, especially against like the best in the league, and they just like they jump out the screen at you, like, oh my god, this is like I can see greatness when I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm like super excited. We also got, we didn't mention on the east side, we got Pablo Blanchero also getting an All-Star nod. You know, he's a young guy down in Orlando. Orlando's having like a stellar year this year as well. So it is definitely encouraging to see like not necessarily like a passing of the torch, but you're starting to see like some of the younger guys in the NBA, guys who we think are going to be here for, you know, decade plus, starting to show that yeah, they belong to play in this league.
What did Pat say earlier? Who's your favorite player?
Shy.
Shea. Yeah.
Shay, is that how you say it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Young talent.
Yeah. Young talent.
Just saying.
Young talent.
It's interesting, just real quick, with Victor and Chet, just to continue to see the change of the big men in the NBA. You know, they're no longer coming in and playing the post position. They have to be able to shoot the threes and run the floor and do everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like positionless basketball. You come in, dribble, pass, and shoot at all positions. Switch off on, you know, whoever. Could be a guard, could be a big man. You have to be able to, you know, at least spot up and play D on whoever. So, yeah, the game, I think, and we've talked about this, Sean, from a talent standpoint, is just like guys are just able to do way more coming into the league than they once were. Maybe before you could have got by and got drafted really high because you were a freak athlete or you were really good on defense or you had a you know, really good jump shot. But now it's like less about like being specifically good in certain areas and just like having well-rounded overall games.
Yeah, look at so go back to, you know, our upbringing. You know, we grew up Michael Jordan, GOAT, right? A guard, 6'6", right? Unguardable, scoring machine, and then you transition to, he passed the torch to Kobe, right? Similar, you know, Michael Jordan 2.0. Then now you go to LeBron, and then now from LeBron went to, you have Kevin Durant type players. Like, look at those body types. It went from a guard position being unguardable and having handle and being able to score to now 6'11" forwards that can handle like a guard, can shoot like a guard, but have size. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's funny because I don't know if either of you play NBA 2K, but I was having this conversation with someone the other day. Whenever someone buys NBA 2K, it's the first thing they do. They create a player. What does that creative player look like? It looks like Kevin Durant. Their shooting is 99, and handle is like 90.
And they're a center. And they're a center.
Come on, like it's just what the NBA is evolving into. And
or you're a guard who's like 6'2" and you can shoot 3-pointers from like half court.
Yeah. It's either small spectrum. You're hitting threes from half court, or you're handling and you're almost 7 foot.
You're a big man that's a point guard.
You can dunk, shoot, dribble, post up. You can do it all. So, that's what the NBA is.
Yeah. All right. I know it's early on and we're like almost at the midway point of the season, but who do you guys have for MVP NBA right now? Sean, what are you thinking?
I think and I hate doing the ifs, but if Joel Embiid can just continue to stay healthy and play, there's just I don't see, just like last year with Joker, like the way Embiid's playing this year, he just went on that streak of averaging 30 and 15. Like
I think he's still
he can
going.
just constantly do that. Is he still going? If he's still whatever, if he's still going and at that rate, and the Sixers are still a viable team in the East, like in that 3-4 spot, like why is he? You gotta sell me on why he wouldn't be the MVP. And they have nobody outside of Maxey, because Tobias Harris ain't it, and the rest of that team ain't it.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically has the Sixers on his back. And that's what an MVP is and should be. And granted, yes, Joker is, in my opinion, right now, best player in the NBA just based on what he's done and what he does. But Joel Embiid, if he stays healthy, there's an argument there that he could go against Joker anything.
So you go Embiid, Joker, and then who else? What do you got rounding up like a top three?
If I had to do a 3, my hot take is SGA.
SGA, okay.
Second seed in the West. I told you his stats already. He's averaging 30. He's averaging almost 6 and 6 on rebounds and assists. Young, talented team. What more do we want?
True.
If you take him off that team, they're not second seed in the West. They're not. They're not second seed in the West. If you take Embiid off the Sixers,
Mm-hmm.
they're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not in the playoffs. If you take Joker off, maybe
They might be a playoff team, but I don't know.
They might be a playoff team. Might, because the West is real bad.
Rest, yeah.
But yeah, that would be my 3 right now.
Pat, who do you got for top 3 MVP voting?
Okay, so current odds, just to let you guys know, favor the Joker. It's Joker, SGA, Luka, Embiid, Jason Tatum. I personally totally agree with Sean. I think Joel Embiid is by far the MVP. He's hurt now. They've played the last 3 games without him. They're 1-2. The only game they won, Tobias Harris had to put up 40 points, and again, you just can't get that kind of night from Tobias Harris every single night.
No.
So I think personally that Joel Embiid is the obvious choice for MVP as long as he comes back from this injury and plays the way he was playing prior to it. Second on my list personally, I have Luka. I don't think the Mavericks could do anything without Luka. I think Luka is a special player. He makes buckets from everywhere on the court. He will go. The Mavs will go as far as Luka will take them. And then rounding out my third, as much as I would love to put SGA in there, I think Jason Tatum should be considered for the MVP conversation a lot more than he actually is. His odds currently are plus 2,500. Listen to me. He is excellent. You take him out of the Boston Celtics lineup, and they are borderline a playoff team.
I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, I don't know. If we're going by odds, sure. Yeah, I think right now, to you guys' point, health. If he's healthy, Joel Embiid is just different. His numbers are speaking for themselves. I think he definitely is the front runner. I do like the Luka take because he is kind of like the engine that makes that go. And him and Kyrie together have just been like stellar this season. So yeah, I think Luka definitely deserves to be in the conversation. I'm not mad at the Jason Tatum take. Like, as a Knicks fan, I watch a lot of like Eastern Conference games, and we've played Boston numerous times. This guy just like, as compared to like previous seasons where it's like it doesn't look as efficient. It takes a lot of shots for him to get his points. He may not be like there defensively. This season, he just seems to be locked in. Like, he's effortlessly scoring, 27 a game, guarding sometimes the best defender or the best player on other teams, and is hitting clutch buckets. Like fourth quarter is like Jason Tatum time. So like I think that coupled with the fact that you're on the best team in the NBA, like record wise, like you have to give him the nod. You have to give him that consideration. Yeah, I do disagree with one thing though. Like if you take Tatum off of the Celtics, I do think between Brown, Porzingis, and Derek White, you have enough to be a playoff team. Do you have enough to like advance or like be in championship conversation? No, I don't necessarily think you do. But you have a lot of firepower, minus Tatum if you were to take him off of Boston. So I think that might be like the only thing that kind of like drops him down, in my opinion. To some of your other points, like you take Embiid off the Sixers, like you can kind of see what they're doing. You're not going to get 40 points from Tobias Harris every night. You take Joker off of Denver, same deal. So yeah, if I was gonna go top three, I'd probably agree with Pat. It would be Embiid, Luka, slightly over Joker, and then Joker. But I would definitely give honorable mention to Jason Tatum.
Yeah, listen, Jaylen Brown is a really good player, and he's very underrated.
He is.
Like, to your point, Chris, I think, yeah, if you took Jason Tatum off that team, they're still going to play really good defense because as a team, they play really good defense.
Yeah, you still got Jaylen Brown. And
if you look at games where Jason may not be having the best game, Jaylen steps up. Mm-hmm. I only reacted the way I did because I wouldn't take Jason MVP over Giannis, and Giannis is not in my top three, and I wouldn't take Jason over Luka Doncic either, and he wasn't in my top three. I think Jason, for me, he is an MVP caliber player, but he's more maybe in the back end of the top 10. If I had to pick 10,
I mean,
the top 10 player in the NBA.
I'll take it a step further. I would argue, I'd be hard pressed to say that Jason Tatum isn't like top 5 player, period, in the NBA, and he's creeping up.
Top 5 player, like overall,
best
players in the NBA.
Overall, best players in the NBA.
I don't know if I could take him. I don't know.
Oh no, Pat, what do you think?
I love him. I'm a big fan of Jason Tatum. I do. As Knicks fans, we should remember the KP days where he was trying to run an offense or do anything for the offense by himself. KP's doing well because now he's a role player. Mm-hmm. Derek White is a role player. Brown, excellent player. He could be a superstar on another team. I totally agree with you. I think he could score a bucket basically any time he goes down the court. I just think Jason Tatum is special. And like Chris said, he guards the best player on the opposing team night in and night out. Playoff time, he's taking all the big shots, guarding all the best players. I don't see the Celtics as that good of a team without him there. I feel like he's the key cog that really keeps everything together.
Which I agree with. My thought is I don't know if I could take him as if I had to pick the 5 best players on the planet. I don't think I'm picking Jason Tatum.
That's not what we're picking. We're picking the MVPs.
If we were pissed,
listen.
Also additional to that.
Listen, we could
pick an MVP. I'm not picking him in the top 5.
We could put a pin, and we can have a top 5 current players in the league as a topic for another day. But I'm throwing it out there. That's just how highly I put him as far as like players currently playing. But definitely something to talk about in a future episode. Last topic I got here off our list is trade deadline is approaching, February 8th. We already saw the Obi trade to the Knicks. we might see some other dominoes fall. Who do you think makes a move? What team do you think is in position and really needs to make a push in the second half of the season? Pat, what do you got?
Alrighty, so my opinion has cooled over the last, let's say, few days after OG is doing his thing, but I believe that the Knicks still need one more player. In my opinion, I think the Knicks still need one player that could generate their own offense and create their own shot down on the offensive end. Also, in the Mitch Robinson update, it looks like he'll be coming back before the end of the year. But if it's not in enough time for him to get ready for the playoffs, they need another big. Hartenstein is playing well, but they need somebody that could come off the bench and actually make something happen and be a difference maker. Hartenstein's getting a ton of rebounds, getting some buckets with some great passes, but I feel like we need some more. One other person that I was thinking is the Warriors. I don't know if you guys heard the news that Kuminga recently said that he doesn't believe Steve Kerr could get him to his utmost potential. So I feel like that's an ideal spot. Maybe they could look at Toronto, get Pascal Siakam, and just do a swap for swap.
Yeah, you make a good point there. Like the Warriors, I don't know what they're doing. They had a big game yesterday, but it's super like relying on Clay and Steph having amazing games every single night. And to be honest with you, I feel like the gas is running out a little bit. Like they need something more. And Kuminga's not it. I think to your point, I think they do need to make a trade and go get somebody and maybe package him and Andrew Wiggins, because I know there's been rumors around, possibly using Andrew Wiggins as a trading piece. Might be a good idea to do so now. I would say for me, I think the biggest, the team that has to make a trade yesterday is the Lakers. They are bad. They are a bad team. They got dudes that shouldn't even be on NBA rosters starting and getting minutes. Like, you hear what I'm saying? Like, they got dudes that shouldn't be in the NBA. Like, if you put them on another NBA team, they're not making the roster. Mm-hmm. But I think just what they have going on right now with Darvin Ham and, like, it's bad. They need to make a trade. I've heard some rumors, and the one person that I really, really feel like could help them and could also help the Knicks, and I know I mentioned this earlier, and Chris is probably going to disagree, but DeJounte Murray. Like, the Hawks are bad right now. They could be in a fire sale. Go get him. He can generate, like you just said, Pat, he can generate offense. He can score the bucket. Go get him. The Lakers could use him, I'll tell you this much. Because you ain't going to win. You ain't going to go anywhere with just LeBron and AD. Yes, granted, LeBron, he is who he is, right? But at what point are you just going to rely on them too and have a roster of G League players? Mm-hmm. Only problem is the Lakers literally have one draft pick left. What is it, 2029 first round? They have nothing to trade, but they need to do something. And I think Murray would be a good fit because I think the Hawks are in a space right now where, all right, we might need to rebuild and fire sale here. And again, I wouldn't be opposed to the Knicks going to get him too, because I agree. Knicks need one more piece. They need somebody that can score on their own, because I think we're one and done with the roster that we have right now.
One and done? You serious?
I'm sticking to. I said it.
Wow.
I said it. I've
okay.
been saying it, man.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree that the Knicks need one more piece. Like we are in agreement there. But like to say they're one and done, I don't know. I don't know about that. To a couple of your guys' points. Yeah, I think right now the teams, just in my opinion, that really need to make a move. Obviously, Lakers and Warriors are tops of that list. Knicks also on that list. I think if we want to like solidify our spot in the Eastern Conference, I'm going to also say the Sixers need to do something as well, because like you're seeing that without Joel Embiid and Maxey, you really don't have much. So I mean, the two big trade pieces out there obviously are Siakam and DeJounte Murray. I think either of those players going to the Sixers would improve their chances of maintaining their position in the Eastern Conference. If we're going to, the Knicks specifically, I think those are the two areas of concern. Is like, we haven't really filled that Emmanuel Quickly role in the second unit. Miles McBride has like stepped up. Grimes has looked better since the trade. But yeah, adding DeJounte in the mix, somebody that can create their own shot, can initiate the offense, running with the second unit, could potentially shore up a lot of our deficiencies. I'm not necessarily worried so much about big man play. Hartenstein has been holding it down in that starting center position. We've gotten spot minutes from like Jericho Sims and like Precious Atua, but if Mitch is slated to come back, particularly around playoff time, I think that's going to make a huge difference as far as like our defense is concerned. Because you don't have to play him as a starter, you can play him with that second unit, and Mitch fills up a lot of deficiencies on the defensive end as that rim protector. So I think that could get shored up there. But I'm definitely looking at the Murray trade as like a possible landing spot for him with us. As far as like, the Warriors or the Lakers, like, listen, there's been discussion around like aging superstars in the league right now. Like, not to say LeBron isn't great, not to say Steph Curry isn't great, but like, you're asking 35-year-old plus players to get you to title contention that aren't Michael Jordan. Yeah, that aren't, at the peak of their skills. Yeah, they're still great players, but like, I think in LA the idea was that Anthony Davis was going to basically transition to being like your best player, and no, it's still LeBron at 39 as your best player and with nothing else around him. Like Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura you're expecting to like carry the load, and it's just not happening. And then with, the Warriors, it's like, okay, Steph is still Steph. Clay is aging. Draymond is a basket case. Like, and you don't have like the next guy. I mean, I think you initially thought Jordan Poole was going to be that guy to kind of like transition to carry the load, and it ended up not working out. So in those cases, they definitely need some like fresh blood, some, a person that they can like transition to, or at least make trades to where they can get some draft assets and like plan for the future. But like as of right now, I mean, I don't even see them. They're both those teams are going to be in play-in tournament kind of position, in that 8 to 10 range when it comes playoff time. But yeah, I think it's interesting. We're getting into like the thick of the NBA season, and it's like it's prime time for me. I'm loving it. I'm loving all the moves. I'm loving all the discussion. I'm loving all the rumor reports. Like I'm on the rumor wire like every day now. Like that's just kind of where I'm at with as far as the league goes.
Yep, love it. All the good teams are separating themselves from the crap teams. Mm-hmm. It's an exciting time.
Cool. So I think it's about that time. We're on to our favorite segment.
Mr. Famine.
Favorite segment.
All right, I got two for y'all. All right, I know we were just talking about the NBA. I would say feast or famine on NBA international basketball. Like, how are we feeling about it? It's the first time. It was a good game. It was Nets and Cavs. Big turnout. Pat, what are your thoughts? You feasting on the international NBA games, or you famine?
I am feasting on it. Anything to grow the game is good for the game. Like you said, it was out in, I believe, Paris, France. They had $15,000 15,000 fans in attendance. They were using it kind of as a dress rehearsal for the Bercy Arena for the Olympic basketball finals that's going to be happening later this year. It's all good. It's always good. You're growing the game. You're seeing the same thing in football. Anytime you're trying to bring American-based sports to other countries and trying to expand it, it's always good.
Cool. I'm definitely feasting on international play. Like, I think out of like the professional leagues in America, at least, the NBA has done the best job of expanding the game to be a global game. Take it all the way back to like David Stern back in the day with the '92 Dream Team. Since then, we've had an influx of so many foreign-born players. I mean, look, we're talking about MVP, and the top 3 players are all foreign-born. They're not from America. So like, it just goes to show you that the game has become more global. So like, you're seeing guys that are just like super talented from so many other countries. I'm all for it. So feast for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a clean sweep. Like, it's more revenue, more exposure across the world. Like, yes, obviously we can all say that America is good at basketball, really good, but the game has changed. International players are taking over the NBA, which is not a bad thing. So I love it. I'm feasting on it too. Last one, feast or famine. Today's the 13th. Wilt Chamberlain is the best athlete to ever wear number 13. Feast or famine? Chris, what you got? It's a good one.
That is a good one. Unfortunately, I don't know enough players that have worn 13 to say who's better, but I mean, I could hit up the Google machine really quick and see number 13.
Give me some options.
Give me some options.
You got the Miami Dolphins, one of the greatest players to ever put on that jersey, Dan Marino.
Okay.
Or you got Yankee favorite, Alex Rodriguez.
Okay.
Or if you want to go international, we were just talking about international. Let me go international. A little bit of Steve Nash. Should have never won that MVP. Maybe we can have that different conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. That MVP definitely should have went to Shaq that year. I don't know, man. It's hard for me because I've given you my take on Wilt Chamberlain. It's like, yeah, you scored 100 points in a game, you averaged 50 and 13 in one season, but like, my grandfather was probably playing against you, and he's like barely 6 feet tall. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, like of course you're gonna dominate against your competition that you're playing against. So I mean, I think I'm gonna have to go famine on Wilt Chamberlain as the best player to ever wear 13. My choice is going to be Mr. Kurt Warner, number 13. Played for the Giants, played for the Arizona Cardinals, and most notably, played for the greatest show on turf, the Rams. Won a Super Bowl with the Rams. Him, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. Listen, prime time. Can't get any better than that.
Pat, what you think?
I am feasting that he is the greatest number 13 to ever wear the number. My first reaction was automatically A-Rod, of course, and while he did have some great years with the Yankees, they were kind of a little muddied up by some other unfortunate circumstances. I'm not sure if you guys remember that. But Dan Marino was the really, really big one that I wanted to pick. But you know what? Dan really didn't win a whole lot. He was surrounded by really crappy teams for the most part. Will at least won 2 championships. So I got to jump on board and say I am feasting on him being the best number 13.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Pat. I'm feasting on Wilt. We're both huge Yankees fans, and A-Rod came to mind. But granted, Chris, listen, here's some stats for you.
Listen,
Wilt averaged 30 in his career. He averaged 30 and 22. He put 100, and that 100 was actually against the Knicks in 1962. He's won 4 MVPs and has been in 13 All-Star games, and he has championships. So, none of the other guys we just mentioned have those types of.
Listen, you also got to look at the fact that, like, Wilt Chamberlain also, his main competition was Bill Russell. Wilt won how many championships? Wilt won 2 championships?
I think it was 2.
Bill Russell won how many? I can't even put them all on my hands.
But we're not talking about that number. We're talking about 13.
Okay, fine. Listen,
13 championships.
my point stands. You can average 30 and 22 against postal workers all day long, okay? It's like playing in a adult rec league, okay? I get it. You're the greatest amongst all the rec league players. That's cool. I'm actually surprised, Pat, that you didn't like co-sign with me on the Kurt Warner pick, being that he was a former Giant. I mean, he paved the way for Eli to be who Eli was. Okay, he was in that quarterback room.
Relax.
But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. That's my hot take, feast or famine for the day. Wilt Chamberlain wasn't as great as everybody thinks he was.
I mean, I love the Kurt Warner reference. I definitely do. Mm-hmm. More Kurt Warner.
Kurt.
Cool, man. I think we got through everything. Yeah, this was a long one. I think we're at a hour 41 on this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Big week, a lot going on.
Big week, a lot going on.
It is a big week. Got a lot going on. Got some good football games going on today. A lot going on in the NBA.
Yeah, it's
Baseball
good.
Season's coming soon. We didn't talk about that yet.
Spring training. I'm gonna have to get my notepad out and start doing some research since you guys are clearly 2 baseball aficionados over here.
We're going to be talking a lot about the Yankees.
Nice, good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. You guys got anything else?
Get
All
ready
right.
for these games.
Yep.
And as always, this is Feast or Famine.